Hey everybody, it's Martha. Thank you for coming back. Welcome if you haven't been here before, and welcome if you have. So I started a new project and did a video on that, and I left off where I was going to improve on the cover because there were some things about it I didn't like. This is the double envelope journal. I'm going to slide this out of here. This is the double envelope journal, mini journal that I'm making. And I used a pad of paper, you know, kind of cardstock style paper from a pad, 12 by 12 pad, that I had around. And since it's sort of spring around here at this point, we were some of the lucky ones and didn't get any of the snow crossing the country. We're not far enough north. Thank goodness. Not that I wouldn't like a little snow, but you know, it is late in the year. I feel for those people. Or if you're out there and you're one of them, I feel for you. Anywho's, so I don't know that I would necessarily, I don't hate this journal. I'll just say that. Pink is not my big color, but I'm starting to appreciate it more and more. Anyway, when I left off, I had covered the inside and the outside of the flap with the paper. And the edges, I didn't make them long enough to overlap them. I didn't think about overlapping this side onto the back side and then covering up the overlap with this paper. I didn't think about any of that. So the envelopes were red and they were showing on the edges, and I just didn't like it. It looked very unfinished. So I turned to my left and I saw pink ribbon. So I got the pink ribbon out and I started lining the edges with the pink ribbon using Fabri-Tac. And it worked wonderfully. It's been 2 days because I did this right after the camera turned off, after the last video, or I should say the first video for this particular for this particular project, but it was the last video I did. Life got a little busy. Yesterday was my husband's birthday, and we went up to the city where my daughter lives in the same state, and it takes about an hour on a good traffic day for us to get there, and we got to spend lunchtime with our grandgirls. They are 8 and 5, and soon to be 9. Oh my gosh, where's the time going? And 6. And the oldest one is, I'm 5'2", and she's quickly catching up to me. So she does not take after her mother because her mother is 2 inches shorter than I am, and her daddy is tall. So I think she's going to take after daddy. Anyhow, so I added the ribbon. And then I didn't like the separation between this paper and the paper on the flap when I bent it. So after I was done with the ribbon, I looked to my left again, and what did I behold but some washi tape that pretty much perfectly matches the pattern on the paper. I mean, I didn't realize it at first, but this is the washi tape, and it pretty much matches what's on this paper. And this is a new washi tape, which is why I forgot about it, that I got in a package with several rolls in it. Can't tell you the brand because I've taken them all out of the plastic tubes because it's too hard getting them in and out. So I put that there. I took a piece of paper and I glued it on both sides, and this is the flap holder. And I thought that was really pretty with the butterfly. It was a cutoff from one of the other pieces. I put a different washi tape. I didn't prepare, obviously. I used this washi tape for here and here. And then I used even a different washi tape. Yes, eclectic. I used this washi tape, which also matches pretty well. And I put a couple pieces across here and one piece here. It sort of leveled out the pocket a little more and dressed it up a little bit. There's a lot going on in this, but it's cute. I think it's cute. It's not, it's more shabby chic than it is tattered or vintage, but that's okay. Lots of people like this. I like it. And then this was a cutoff from one of the strips from the paper pack. There are several pieces of paper in there that make really nice, have nice things on them. And it was like a sheet with strips of stuff on it. I've cut it up, but like there was this strip and there was this strip and yeah. So, several more. I mean, there were others. Some of these things like this. So anyway, so I used that across there just to kind of, it's actually covering the crown on the flap. Sometimes I leave the crown, sometimes I cover it. What the heck? You know, go with the flow, right? Go what you're feeling. So, I did have a direction on this, I think. Now I can't remember what it was. I can't remember if it was like that or like that. I think it was like that, with the flap opening on the left. But then that makes that upside down. So, again, all cattywampus. So then what I did is I took another sheet of paper out of the pack and I made a little cover for the signature. So it's even more colorful, and I rounded the edges with my large corner rounder, and I also used this Martha Stewart punch, which also comes with a corner punch, which I don't use very often, but I just wanted a little bit on some of the pages. So what I did was I took this page out and I did both sides together. Or maybe I didn't. No, I didn't. I just did them separate, but I did both sides because they don't really line up. But you're not going to see that because one is on the front, one's on the back. I also went through some of my ephemera, and I have all of these magazine pages with pink flowers on them. And I made, previously, these were already made up, I made little, I don't know if you want to call them pockets or paper sacks. I guess they're more a pocket. And I had previously made these, so I took out some of my tags. I had done this a while back with these tags. These were pure white tags, and I grunged them up and inked them and did all sorts of stuff. And this side was blank. So I took some doilies, some music paper ribbon, some of the paper. This is where that, what I do with it. This is where some of this paper came from, that strip right there. I have cheesecloth on here and some washi tape. And then I used one of my stamps. I just used the top part here of this stamp here on this part. And then I inked the bottom part of the stamp and did it on the top part before I put some of the I put some of the layers on, stamped it, and then put some more layers on. So that's one of the cards. And this is one that I took out of a paper pack, and I said, I'm just going to use it to make some random tags. So it sort of offsets the brightness of everything. So I just decided to use a set of these tags in here, and then a set of tags that I made up. And I think, if I remember correctly, no barking, guys. I think if I remember correctly, I have 4 pockets in here. So I did the same here, and did the same here and put one of my punched out butterflies on there. So one goes in the back because I glued around 3 sides here. So that fits in the back of the pocket, and then this one fits in the front. And, I mean, there's plenty of room if you wanted to put any more in there too, obviously. If you wanted to put some other, these are pretty tall pockets, but, you know, these will make really nice journaling cards. So I like that. So I showed you the pockets, and I showed you where I punched out some edges. And I am leaving a lot of journaling space. I don't know. Maybe other people want theirs like journals that are crammed full of stuff. But I like to leave lots of space for someone else to put what they want in here. I took one of my coffee filter papers that I dyed, and I made another pocket. I just glued it. I didn't sew it. And what I did with this page was, I haven't used gesso very much. I've only used it one other time on a decoupage napkin that I did. Wasn't thrilled with the results, but I thought, well, you know, if you gesso this, people could write right over the top of this. So that's what I did. This was a not really shiny page, not like this shiny. And then I took out my gelato sticks, which I'm very new to using gelatos, and I have this little set that I bought that I wanted to try. I'm no artist. I mean, I wish I could paint flowers. I wish I could paint things. I wish I could draw things. I stink at it. I know that. I've tried my entire 63 years of life, almost 63. And so I just took the bubble gum out, and I played with water and the bubblegum color, and I just kind of smushed it around all over here. Wasn't in love with it, so I slapped this pocket on there and put just a plain little tag in it, and one of the punched out butterflies and some more of that paper from that strip. I gessoed this side, but not this side because this pocket was already down. So I gessoed around it, but you could literally write here if you wanted to. And this is another of the pockets with another tag, similar to the other ones. And they're all a little different in each way. This was one of the little sayings from the paper pad. On one of the pages, they have a bunch of sayings. And then I had some of these tags punched out of that other paper pack too. So I just went with it. It's different. It's eclectic. It's, you know, it's a variety. They're not everything looks the same. Why is that giving me such a hard time? It's not a very stiff tag, so there it goes. I think I got a little extra glue, and this one's narrower, so it's fitting a little tight. But it says, great things take time, and flowers take time to bloom, and so do people. So I did that page and gessoed it. This is another pocket, again, with the two different types of tags in it. And I did the edges of these pages. I added some lined paper. I added a piece of graph paper, which I don't think was in there before. Lined paper. I think I had the tracing paper in there before. I'm not sure. And then I sort of did the same with the gesso with this page, and then I thought, well, that's just too weird, like it was too white, too chalky looking. So again, I took my brush and the gelato, the bubblegum gelato, and I just dabbed the brush all over it, except on this edge, and it made these weird little marks on there. So that's what I did. And again, this could be written right across. I don't know how well, I mean, if you used black ink, I think that would show up fine on that page. So I did that. Let's see, what else did I add? I think on this page I didn't do gesso. I just stuck some random sheets of writing paper on it. And then this is the center. And kind of back this way. And there's the other side of all those pages I just showed you. And then another pocket here, which I already showed you because that's the one that says great things take time. And that's the back of that page, which I think is very pretty. So, yeah. So I think at this point, I'm just going to add a few more of these butterflies that I punched out of that same page. What I do with the page? Oh no, what I do with it? Oh, here it is. It's on the other side over here. So I used this page. So of course, one edge of it was pink and one end of it was more blue, and the butterflies came out really pretty. A couple of them have tattered wings because I cut a little, I didn't give the punch enough room. But some are pinkish, some are light blue, some are darker blue. and they're really pretty. So I'm going to maybe put some of these throughout on some of the pages. Here's a couple more. And I cut out some more of the sayings from this strip, which I really like because they're very positive sayings. And here's another page with some stuff on it that I cut out and I inked. So I really just like them because they're very positive and fun, and some are blank, and some could be used for journaling on the back of. And then there was this set, which I really like too. I love this one. Art is when your creativity comes to life. And then this one I just think is just beautiful. You could journal on the front and the back of these. So, yeah. So I wanted to share that with you. And I think I may just, excuse me, I may just include all of these things in the pockets of the envelope journal. So I thought what I might do, I need to glue this little corner down because it keeps pulling up. And I did glue all of my washi on because I don't trust any of it. Stay down, please. Thank you. I don't trust any of the washi to stick independently with its own glue, because it just doesn't, ever, for me. And some of my washi, when I tear it off, no matter how careful I am, this is the kind of strips I get from it. This washi is really bad. This brand did it to me a lot on every color. So, yeah. It's this stuff here. Don't really love it. You get a lot of it, but you got to be really, really, really careful when you tear it off. So I thought I was going to do it this way, right? I don't know. Then that butterfly is going to be upside down. I have to decide. I don't think it really matters because, I don't know. The writing goes this way. No, the writing goes this way. So, I mean, you can open it this way, but when you open it, this is going to go sideways. So I have to decide if I want it in this way or if I want it in this way, which is what I like because, of course, it closes this way. So I think it's going to go that way. So what I'm trying to get at is this journal could have some more things added to it. When you close it up, it's pretty tight, but there's a little more space that, I mean, this would give a little more. I should have put this a little closer to the flap, but I think it'll be okay like this. And so I'm going to sew the signature in. So I've only sewn a few signatures in, so please, please, please be very, very kind to me in my process. I will show you how I've been doing it. I am not trying to convince anybody that this is the only way or the correct way. Not by any means. This is just Martha's way. And we all know that Martha is a beginner, and Martha is sharing her experiences with other beginners and other people of knowledge. And maybe if you have a hint or a tip to help me out, I would be very open and happy to hearing them. So what I do is I have several things that I use. This is, I don't even know if they sell this anymore. I haven't looked because I had a whole bunch of it. It's from Tandy Leather, and it is waxed thread. It doesn't say what kind of thread, but it's waxed thread. It's pretty thick string. To me, it's more than thread, and it's very heavily waxed. And this is what I've been using. I have several bags of it because I used to use it for other projects. We have horses, and I used to make rhythm beads. If you don't know what rhythm beads are, don't worry about it. you know, I don't make them anymore. But basically, it's like a big necklace for a horse that you do on leather, and you add beads and you add bells. And when the horse trots along, the beads jingle, and it sort of makes a rhythm and sort of helps the horse stay in rhythm and all this other stuff. Anyway, they were cool while I was making them. I don't ride anymore. I don't make them. They sold well, but you know, people wanted to see them, and everybody had different size horse, and it got complicated. So I just don't make them anymore. So I have that, the thread. I have my Tim Holtz pokey thingy that is, it expands in and out. The only thing I'm worried about is if this wears out from pushing it in and out, I'm afraid that then it'll become useless because you won't be able to get it out or put it back in. But this was great for traveling. I have many binder clips here because I use a lot of them to keep the pages in place. And I have this little package of needles. And there's more needles than what originally comes in this. I think you get 2 of, let me see, of this needle. This is, I think you get 2. I think they're both bent like this. I can't remember. And I can't find my other little tube. And what I've done is I put a bunch of different size needles in here. So when I travel, I've got a plastic one. I've got a couple of sewing needles. I've got this bent needle from a set of needles. This is a straight one that's a little sharper on the edge than the others. This one has no point hardly at all. It's very blunt. This is a very blunt needle as well. I do some things where I knit and I crochet, and when you want to weave in the ends, these blunt ones are very good for that. And then I have several sizes of sharp needles and dull needles. This one's a shorter one, but it still has a big hole in it that you can use. So I usually use either this plastic one, which isn't very strong, or I use this one because it's long like this. It's got the big eye on it, but it's straight. And I don't want to have any difficulty getting through the holes with a bent edge. And I don't need a bent edge for what I'm doing. So that's my little collection of needles, and I keep them all in here so that, and I'm working on a needle book and a sewing kit to carry with me when we travel. Not that we usually wear anything with buttons, but you never know. You rip a pair of pants or something, I can sew them up. So I'm going to have thread and some crochet thread in there, all kinds of needles and stuff like that. But I'll probably still carry this in there, even though I'll have pins and needles anyway. That's an ongoing project because I haven't done very well with it. And I have this little, it's by Oneida. I don't even know if you can find something like this anymore in the stores. Maybe Walmart I got it at. I can't remember. Must be because it's Oneida. But this is a cutting board, and it's pretty much had its use. It's pretty cut up, and I don't really want to use it in the kitchen anymore. And I thought this was a perfect, I mean, it's as big as this journal. That's all it is. And this is an envelope from a greeting card, from a birthday card. So it's only as big as that, and I figured that's easy to travel with. It'll fit in my little bag, my travel bag. So it's been repurposed. So what I do to get on with this, because now we're getting on in time, is I take my signature, and if I have a signature cover, I make sure everything is in the place I want it to be. Actually, I was going to add, before I do this, because I don't know it'll be too late, I don't know if this one will fit. That'll be too big. Uh-oh. And that just went flying off the pile. I'm going to add a doily. This was very lightly tea stained. I'm going to add this somewhere back in here because I just like adding doilies to my to my signatures. And I got up this morning saying, add that doily. and I almost forgot. I was trying to prep for the video. And I appreciate those people that have recently started trying to record videos and have stated how tricky and difficult and nerve-wracking and everything it is, because it really is. So, so did anybody out there, while I'm checking this, make sure everything's where I want it in place in the signature, did anybody else out there apply for Tracy Fox's guest design team? If you did, I hope you made it. If you did and you didn't make it, hey, she had a lot of entries, right? And I did not make it. So that was 3 things I had applied for. I have to chuckle. I'm trying to remain very positive. 3 things I applied for within 2 weeks, and I didn't make any of them. Oh, chuckle, chuckle. So I put one there. I put that one on the back side there. So I flip it around, and I put another one. I try and keep it as folded, and I push the center of the signature down and put these pretty close to the edge, pretty close to the fold, but not too close, because you have to work around them when you're poking your holes. And then I'm going to put another one on this side. And what I'm doing is when I go in this way, I push this paper down into the fold. And then clip this on. Now again, I am no expert. I've only done this 3 or 4 times, and I'm just showing you how I did the envelope. Okay, now I'm going to take my 0. That's not it. Sorry for reaching. As I said, did not prepare very well. This is my zero center ruler, which is also a 12-inch regular ruler. It is a Tim Holtz, right there, Tim Holtz Ideology. And it does have the 0 right there. And what I do is I blew it. What I should do, and I did not, is Martha, I have to take these back off because I should have included the cover, and I did not. Rewind. I don't want to edit that out. You know, you make mistakes, right? So I'm making sure everything, all right, I wanted it to, see, now it's going to be upside down. Make sure it's right side up. Make sure all your things are in the center. All your folds are squished down into the fold of the cover. And then I hold this up, and I hold this up. And I make sure it's centered within the cover, the outside cover. I want it to go down just a teensy bit. Well, my papers went down, but my cover did not. Oh, mama. Okay. Alrighty. So that's where I want it to sit inside the envelope cover, I think. It came all undone. Now see, the problem with doing this on video is I've only done this a few times and I struggle. I struggle when the camera's on or not. So, all right. So I want it up this way, just a teensy bit, please. All right. Okay. When I lost the center. Okay. And I don't want to rush because once I sew this in, I'm not going to unsew it and change the holes. So I really want to make sure this is where I want it. I see other people fly through this method, and because I've only done it a few times, flying through it is not my forte. So I just want to make sure you know I am not an expert. I don't know how many times I can repeat that, but I am no expert. I am a beginner. But everybody has to start somewhere, right? All right, so I have one on this side and one on the opposite side, and I feel like that's not right. I'm sorry, guys. Now I feel like a failure here. This one piece of paper is just sticking out the bottom, and maybe it's because it's too long. I don't know. All right, so it's still facing the correct way. That's where I want it, in the spine. Ugh. Oh, if you can't laugh at stuff, what are you going to do? Doesn't make any sense to cry about it, right? Okay. Well, if you haven't turned off the video yet, I appreciate it. Okay. So I've got one there, and I'm putting one on the opposite side, making sure my papers are all down against the spine of the envelope cover, since I forgot that the first time. And then put the rest of the clips on. Oops. Almost. Oh, I can't do it left-handed. I can't do it. I can do a lot of things left-handed, but this binder clip wants to fight back. Okay. And then this one. All right. And then, if the cover will allow me, if the height and the width and the thickness and everything else will allow me, I also try to put a binder clip there and a binder clip here on the edges. So that's in there pretty tight. This one is buckling, so I'm going to make sure it's on. Okay. All right, now we're going to take the 0 center ruler. Okay. And I am going to put it in what I think, now I'm holding the book open, but normally I would hold it very closed like this and poke my head over the top. But you guys don't need to see my head. So the inside page of this journal, this page here, goes from this 4 on the ruler on the 0 center side to 4 on the 0 center side of this ruler. And I am going by the inside page because if I measure to the outside, my holes will be not holding pages in at that point. I might get it too far away. Open your tool, your pokey tool, or get whatever your pokey tool is out. I'm going to hold that there because I forgot to put this underneath. Okay, rechecking the distance. 4 and 4. Now, I'm going to hold it up like this. I could mark it with a pencil, but then I'm not going to be able to see the points. For me, it's easier to go in right here because the 0, there's a 6 on this side because, of course, that's the center of the ruler. I find the center of the fold, okay? I hold this up and I press down until it comes out the other side. Now it's out the other side and it's right in the center of the binding part of the envelope. And I push it as far as I can through, as far as it'll go to get, and I wiggle it a little because I want a nice size hole to get my needle through. Okay? So if this was a 3 3-hole, I would probably put one at the 2.5 and 2.5 on these sides. I'm going to do a 5-hole. I really like the way they look. And even though this isn't like a big book, I just like the way the 5 holes look. So my math it is non-existent. I won't even say the word that it really is. I don't do well in math. So I eyeball. So I know there's 4 inches and I need 5 holes all the way up. So I need 2 on this side and 2 on this side because there's already one in the center. So between 0 and 4, if that's divided by 2, that's 2, right? But I don't want it at the 2 mark. If I was doing a 3-hole, I would do it at the 2 mark on each side on this ruler, and then I would just have 3 holes. But I need to spread it out. So I think I am going to do 1.5 inches up from the center hole. And then if I do 1.5, that'll be at so it'll be at 1.5 and then at the 3, because that would take me to 2.5 and the other half would be 3. And I like that. So I'm going to do, don't ask about my math. Please don't criticize my math. I know it stinks. So I am going to put my hole puncher right there on the ruler. I'm going to, I lost it. Oh no. There it is. There's a little tiny hole in there. I'm going to put it back in there. I'm going to close up my envelope. And I'm going to push. And then I'm going to try and push straight through. And there it is. So do that. And then, of course, if I'd marked it with a pencil, I could just go ahead. So let's mark it with a pencil and see how I do. I don't know how that'll do. Of course, I'd have to find a pencil first. Okay, so 0. So 1.5 and 3. And then 1.5. Hello. My eyes just went all wonky on me. 1.5 and, I'm wiggling 3. Now, of course, it doesn't have to be totally 100% super accurate. It's just nice to have them spaced nicely. All right, so there's my mark up there. And I hold my book as closed as I can and wiggle it around. And then I'm going to do the same here, this mark. It is a little easier than messing with the ruler. And then make sure your hand isn't in the way, because boy, you stab this through your hand, you're going to be going to the doctor. Which you should if you haven't had a tetanus shot and you poke your hand with this thing. Also a good defensive tool. If you're out camping and you need to defend yourself, this would be a good thing to carry along with you. You could put it in your pocket, and if somebody's bothering you, you just push the thing out. Got a pretty good little defensive tool that fits in your hand. Not that I should think that way. So anyway, put that back where it belongs. Then, I have seen people measure, but I can never remember what it is. So I do, if you want extra to hang off the edge, okay, I leave some there. So I do 1, 2, 3, and if I want extra again, I just cut like almost a whole nother length. That way, I'm not short. Better too much and you can cut it off than too long. I mean, better too much and you can cut it off than too short and you have to cut a whole new piece, right? Okay, so there are my 5 holes. And they're also showing very well on the outside. Now, if you wanted to add beads or something at this point, you could do that. I'm not going to on this one, only because I didn't prepare for that. Surprise, surprise. And you can start anywhere along this line that you want to. There's no hard and fast rule, because eventually you're going to come back to the first hole anyway. I have started down here. I have started in the middle. I have started at this one. So for this one, I will start in the middle. So I'm going to poke it. Oh, this needle's really thick. Oh yeah, this needle's not good. Okay, change of plans. That needle's not going to work. I haven't used that needle with this pokey tool. My other pokey tool is a lot fatter, and I think that's where, and that's bent. Here. Is that thinner? That's thinner. Ooh, ooh. Needles flying anywhere. I'm just going to put those over there and not mess with it right now. We'll try this one. Yeah, that one didn't want to go through. My other pokey tool, I'll show it to you. It's a lot fatter. So, anyway. Oop. Yes, yesterday with the Grand Girls was very, very nice. And we grabbed a little lunch on our way back. And then we went out for a little dinner. And I have started a new diet. There's my other pokey tool. So see how thick that one is. And you can see how thin. So now you can see why my thicker needle would work when I was using this pokey tool. Yeah. I like the thin one a lot better. So I've started a new diet because when we went camping this past weekend, people took pictures. And oh, look how easy that was. And I saw myself. So, yep, back on a diet again. So I'm going to leave a good amount because I allowed myself that amount. Let me move this out of the way. I hope that's easy to see. So now, before I keep that discussion going, now what I'm going to do, and you could do this from the outside. You can start from the outside and leave your tails hanging on the outside if you wanted. You know what? I haven't done that before. I think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to start on the outside, and maybe I'll dangle some beads from it. And really, you could start that from up here and dangle beads from the top. I'm just going to do it from the middle. Okay. So I'm going to start this from the outside. And again, I'm going to leave... I know, I'm all over the place. Just pretend I'm a squirrel looking for nuts. Okay. So I'm going to leave several inches hanging below the edge of the journal because I did allow for that. And the same thing would go if you're doing it, if you have your tail on the inside or the outside. Now you can go either direction. Okay. So I'm going to go up and I'm going to come through that hole and I'm holding this. Now you could put a clip down at the bottom to hold it, but I don't. I just hold it and pull so your thread is taut, okay? Which means you just don't want it sagging on the inside. And then you put your needle through and you want it to be tight. You don't want it to be saggy like this because if it is, you're going to do some work at the end to tighten everything up. So I try to keep everything tight. Not so tight that you're ripping the papers on the inside or the outside, okay? So now we're at the top hole. I hope this is showing. You're at the top hole. So we came in that hole, out that hole, and in this hole. So now we're going to go back out this hole, but the biggest thing you want to do is not catch any of the thread. You want this thread to be totally independent and not have this needle cut through any of these threads. So you pull and you pull taut. You want it taut inside, you want it taut outside, and then you're going to do the same thing here. I pull this thread and I make really sure I'm not cutting into that thread, which is where having a more blunt needle makes it less likely that you're going to cut. Uh-oh, where'd it go? It went through. It just didn't go through to the paper. There it is. It's going to be less likely that you cut into those threads the blunter your needle. Okay, so my threads are very tight there, and they're very tight inside, so I'm very happy with that. Now we're going to go down. So you go back out through that hole, Make sure you pull it tight. So see that thread tightened up, and you go in this hole, watching your hand, making sure you don't poke yourself, because we all know my middle name is Grace. Not really. And pull it out, and this is where you have to be sure. See, my thread's loosened up here, and this is the one that's hanging out, so I want to be very sure that these are tight. So I went out that one. So watch these threads. I just tighten them up by pulling on this thread. And then pull this tight, but not so tight you're ripping any papers. And then we're going to go back out this hole here without catching any of the threads. Okay. And now I'm going to check. I want to be sure that all of there's still a gap in this thread. So I want to correct that. I'm going to do that by pulling the threads from the inside. You have to follow how the path went of the thread, which always confuses me. It's like a puzzle. It's like saying the alphabet backwards. Never been able to do that. Okay. Alrighty. So oh my. All right. And this one. And this one. And that one. Okay. So now you can take all your clips off. That one came off all on its own. It was done. Okay. And say you wanted to put beads on as you're going back in from the outside. You could always line that with beads. Okay. So we have all our threads on the inside. And we have all our threads on the outside. So now, this is where I kind of do mine a little different than some others I've seen. I do what's called a surgeon's knot. So instead of tying it once and fighting to hold that down tight, if you do a surgeon's knot, it will tighten up all by itself. So, oh my goodness. So here are my two threads. I'm trying to see if I'm in. Here are my two threads. Cross them over like you're going to tie normally, and then put your loose end back through the loop again. Okay, so I'll do that again. I'm going to take this needle off because, you know, it's me. Okay, so I'm going to tie like normal, like a regular square knot, all right? And instead of pulling it down, I'm going to put that through the loop again. And then you just pull it. And you're not fighting. And then I'm going to do it again. Well, that didn't turn out the way it should have. Only because I'm trying to show somebody. Okay. Put it through. And put it through. Now, if you want it to tie next to one of the holes, you can do that. If you want it to tie in between the holes, you can do that. Now, see, that's staying there. I'm not fighting with it to stay in a knot form, but I will make a second double knot. And that's basically what the surgeon's knot is. It's a double knot, but you put it through the same loop twice. There. Okay. So now, of course, I have lots extra because I always overcompensate. So you can cut that off as long as you want it. You can hang beads and charms and whatever on it. Or you could cut it off up close to this. You can do it from the inside. You could use it as a bookmark. There's a lot of things you could do. So there is the journal, and it's now sewn into the envelope. And that's how I did the one that started this all, which was this one. And you will see that I did this one, and I started on an end hole here, and I did 5 stitches, and this can be used as a bookmark. I have not cut this off yet. This can be used as a bookmark, and that's how the binding looks on that one, and that's how the binding looks on this one with the threads on the outside. So I hope that you'll give this a try. I'm going to put some more things in this. I am at 50 minutes. I can barely see the iPad, but it's at 50 minutes and 48 seconds. So I hope, even though I struggled with this, I hope this helps you work out how to do this. If you've never sewn a binding in, or you haven't sewn it into an envelope, hey, go for it. It was fun, right? I mean, I had a lot of fun putting this together. I now have the lavender journal to finish on video, and I have 2 others that I need to sew in, and I have a haul video that I want to do. But again, like I said at the end of my last video, I can only do 1 video on my iPad at a time, and then it takes about an hour and 15 minutes to download it to YouTube. And we've had several errands to run in the mornings this week, so I have only been able to do 1 video 2 days ago, and then this video today. And tomorrow the husband is going to the horses, so I should be able to get 1 video in tomorrow morning, I hope, which will be the haul video, and we'll take it from there. If I can get anything else done, I will. So thank you for joining me. I greatly appreciate it. I will be back. I will try and think up some new things. Not that they haven't been done before on YouTube, but, you know, maybe you'll enjoy the way I do it, or struggle the way I do and watch me work it out. The only thing about my videos that I can say is that at least I am sharing with you the struggles of a beginner junk journaler maker. And hey, if you can't watch somebody struggle for entertainment, then, you know, you don't know how to have fun, right? So anyway, you guys take care. Thank you if you appreciated this video, or my humor, or the knowledge I shared, or, you know, the comedic value of all this. Give me a thumbs up. If you want to comment, I'd be glad to answer anything, or chuckle with you, or hear your opinions. And comments and thumbs up and likes, they do a lot to help grow the channel, and so I appreciate it. You guys take care. Have a great day. Thank you for being here for me. I appreciate any support you give me. These journals, this one's already in my Etsy shop. This one will be going in when I finish putting it together and adding a few bits and bobs to the insides. But you guys don't need to watch all that. So you know how to do that. So take care. Hugs. Happy crafting. Bye, everyone.